Hi guys, welcome back to another week. I'm Michaela,
I'm Hannah.
and this is week two, and we have some exciting books that we've chosen, just books that kind of got us into reading. So Hannah's gonna start us off today.
Okay, so today I chose Once Upon a Marigold by Jean Ferris. It's kind of what the cover looks like. It was originally published in 2002. Um, I remember reading this one a lot in elementary school as well. I think I first read it in like fourth grade because I can remember the school library that it came from, and I think it's the school I went to in fourth grade. So, yeah, I originally read it in fourth grade, and then I read it like multiple times throughout elementary school and junior high. It's it's like it's kind of a play on like it kind of gave me like Princess Bride vibes, but also a little like Ella Enchanted. So they have a little like summary thing. So the summary says a young man with a mysterious past and a penchant for inventing things leaves the troll who raised him, meets an unhappy princess he has loved from afar, and discovers a plot against her and her father. So the book follows Christian. He lives with his troll like foster father. He found him in the woods when he was little, and Christian didn't know where he lived, so the troll just kind of took care of him. They live in a cave, and Christian grows up. He's an adult, and he starts looking through his like what's it called? Telescope thing. He starts looking through his telescope, and he sees the castle on the other side of the river, and he falls in love from afar with the princess that lives there. And they start sending like pigeons back and forth to talk to each other, and they become like best friends. And then Christian decides that it's time for him to leave the house and to become a man or whatever. And so he goes to the castle, gets a job there so that he can be close to Princess Marigold. Um, and they fall in love, and it's a fairy tale, so they end up together in the end. It's really cute. Um, the humor in it is very kid friendly. It's like silly slapstick kind of humor that, I mean, there's no dirty jokes in it or anything. Like, it is 100% kid friendly. And I really liked the way that they portrayed the love story. Because I feel like even in a lot of like adult romance novels, I read it and I'm like, that is not a healthy relationship. Like, you guys know that, right? You're not supposed to like hate each other half the time. That's not a good relationship. But the way that they wrote this one, where they become friends first and they care about each other and they like promise not to lie to each other and all that, I thought that it was a really good example for little kids to look up to of like what love is supposed to be. Because especially in like TV shows and movies and stuff like that, a lot of times love is portrayed as like not not love. I mean, it's romance lasts, they've known each other for a week and then they get married and they know nothing about each other, and it's all really quick and like passionate and whatever. And I thought that this was a really good example for little kids of like what people who care about each other should treat each other like, how they should act. So I really liked it. It was kind of like reading it for new because I didn't remember. The only thing I remembered about it was that it had a super weird ending. And I got to the end and I was like, yeah, it does have a super weird ending. And then I realized that there's three. There's three. And my elementary library only had the first one. So I spent my whole life thinking that it just had some terrible open ending, but there's not. There's 3 books. So now I have all 3, and I will finish reading this series. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really great for elementary, middle school kids. I would suggest it 100%. Yeah.
That sounds really good. Sorry, I have something in my eyeball. Like, oh well, we'll just let whatever it is happen, and hopefully it comes out and doesn't blind me. No, I really like that. I like that it does portray a healthy relationship for kids, because I feel like a lot of times nowadays they have like Twilight to go off of, where if you really think about it, that's not a healthy relationship.
Not. None of the relationships are healthy. Like,
no. And but then like there's other books that really are not healthy, so I'm glad that there's that one that does have a portrayal of a truly good relationship, I should say. And I'm glad you'll finally get to finish it and not have that awkward ending.
I was like, that's a terrible ending. It ends in like the middle of a thought, and they just end it. It's because there's a sequel. Yeah.
Okay, so my second book is the Junie B. Jones series. I did only read one of the books, and it is Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine. I did not pronounce that wrong. It really is Valentine. But the series is by Barbara Park, and the illustrator for the specific book I read, which again is Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine. It was illustrated by Denise Ronkus. Anyway, I freaking love Junie B. Jones. I forgot how much I loved her. She's this sassy 6-year-old who is so spunky and is so like quick-witted, if that makes sense. And the little books are portrayed like it's her telling her story at the age of 6. So it's like if she were sitting down and writing in her diary. And it's fantastic. So she has names for everyone in her class, and I just want to go over this. So she's in kindergarten. It's called Room 9 Kindergarten Friends. And sorry, I live close to a base, so apparently they're flying over right now. Okay, it's not so loud, I guess. I don't know. Okay. But she calls her teacher Mrs. Like Mrs. That's her name, is Mrs. Her kindergarten teacher is Mrs. If I haven't said that enough. And then she calls herself by her full name, like Junie B. Jones. Her middle name, it tells you, her middle name is Beatrice, but she doesn't like that. She just likes going by Junie B. And then two of her best friends, one is Richie Lucille, and the other one is That Grace. And then some other kids in her class is Meanie Jim, Crybaby William, Polly Allen Puffer, Jamal Hall, Ricardo, Roger, Charlotte, and Linny. So it's mainly just like the people you see her interact with the most is who she has like this special names for. But anyway, so in this book, so there's 28 books in this series. And like this is just a fun book. It's really I personally don't think it has like a huge lesson behind it. There probably is one, and I bet someone who has more patience and time than I do can definitely come up with one. But in this book, they find out that they're going to have a Valentine's Day party. Well, the first chapter is hilarious because the kids are like, oh, we should have ballroom dancing and we should have candy and cake and ice cream and popcorn and all of this stuff. And that poor kindergarten teacher, there's a part where it's like, after that room 9 clapped and whistled and hooted and hollered because they had like, they're like, oh, we should get someone who should juggle chainsaws. And the kindergarten teacher, after we finished clapping, we looked at Mrs. Her head was on her desk and her eyes were staring at the floor. And all of the children in room 9 got very quiet because Mrs. was scaring us a little bit. Plus, also, we were out of party ideas. And I can just see it. Like with some of the kindergarten kids I worked with last year, I could so see this happening. And some of like the kindergarten teachers, literally, we would walk in and it looks like they were contemplating their life choices and they're just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So I thought that was hilarious. And there's just parts where like there's just parts where Junie is just so sassy. Like, so she does say Valentines, like time, as in what time is it? And her friend was like, it's called Valentine, not Valentine's. And then Junie was like, you are not the boss of my words. Like, you don't get to tell me how I get to say this. And she literally was like, on page 9, she says, this is a free country. And if I want to say Valentine, I can. And I will not even go to jail. Like, that is something a kindergarten would say. And you would just be like, oh, okay. But then her friend was like, I didn't say you would. I just told you the right way to say it. And then Junie, with her sassy little remarks, are like, I do what I want. Anyway, so then there's this meanie Jim who basically Junie B and meanie Jim kind of go back and forth and they like tease each other and they make fun of each other. And then come the day before they're supposed to bring in their own Valentines to share with the class, Junie B goes up to her teacher and's like, oh, but I don't have to bring any for like some, what is it, like some stinky, like anyone I don't like. And she calls them like stinky, I can't even remember, but it's hilarious. And she goes up to her teacher and she's like, yeah, but except the people I don't like, right? Because the teacher was like, hey, bring a Valentine for everyone. Only one Valentine for everyone. And then Junie was like, yeah, but not if I don't like them, right? And she's like, the teacher was like, no, like even for those people deserve Valentines too. And so they pick out all the Valentines. They're supposed to have a total of like 17 Valentines because there's 18 kids in the classroom. And then she goes, the Valentine's Day's here. They count out the Valentines. She only has 16. And then the teacher finds this huge, beautiful Valentine's card that someone made for her, but it was signed, your secret admirer. And so then she spends like the day trying to figure out who that was from. And she goes to like random kids in the class, like all of the guys in the class basically, and was like, wink wink, like she literally said wink wink because she can't wink. So she's like, did you leave that for me? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so then finally it just gets to her secret admirer, and he, like, it was just so cute. He's like, well, I didn't want, like, I really like you. And Junie was like, what? You like me? When did this happen? What's going on? And then he just didn't want to change the dynamic because he's like, you're just so fun in class and all of this stuff. So it ended pretty cute. Um, and it's just a good read. Like, Junie is so funny. And she's just, it would be a fun book to read to your kids, like, for bedtime. Like, just a fun, smaller chapter book that you could finish within, like, 2 nights, even a night if you want to have that much reading time with them. And then, yeah, it's just a cute one that you can read for pretty much any occasion, just as a fun little book. Especially like for teachers now where they're teaching a lot online. Even for elementary kids, it's a fun little thing to read to them. So I just love Junie B. She's hilarious, and I feel like I was that way when I was a kid. I was like, no, but I don't know. I'm just always sassy and like, oh, no. But yeah, and my mom actually bought me these books. They were one of the first series I remember getting, but I didn't value books then, so I just like threw all of them away. And now I'm sitting here like, I wish I wouldn't have done that, because I had a lot of the Magic Treehouse books and a lot of like Junie B books, and they're in the garbage somewhere, probably, or someone has them. I don't even know. But anyway, that was my pick. Was Junie B. Jones, and I adore her. She's funny, she's sassy, and she's a kindergartner, so I thought it was fun. Anyway, I feel like that wraps it up. Do you have anything to add, Hannah Buddy?
I don't think so. I think we're good. Hope you guys have a great week. We will see you next week. Next week we will have our third favorite for books that we read as kids and books that made us love reading. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye, guys.